For the past few weeks, our Brief but Spectacular series has profiled several voices from Jackson, Mississippi. Tonight, we hear from Teron Moore, who at the age of 17 was charged with capital murder and sentenced to life without parole. In 2012, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled such sentencing of minors unconstitutional. As a result, Moore was recently paroled following 19 years of incarceration. He's currently enrolled in community college and works with the People's Advocacy Institute, focusing on reducing violence in Jackson.
I went to school in North Jackson my whole life. I love playing ball, growing up around here. On April 2nd, 1998, I was actually playing ball at the park. And a couple of my neighborhood guys, they were about to commit a robbery. They gave me a gun, they asked me to stand in. I was 17, really wasn't thinking about consequences or whatever. So I held a gun on the dude. He wanted to take the gun from me. So he ended up getting shot, and he later died.
Who was it that shot the man?
I did. They didn't secret death penalty because I was 17 years old at the time. So they sentenced me to life without parole. I was incarcerated for 19 years, 6 months, and 6 days. That was my first time ever being locked up. And the one person whose lessons always stood out to me was my grandma, because no matter about me catching the charge or the family being embarrassed or whatever, she never changed on me. She never treated me any different. And it takes a special type of person to be able to, live like that. When you get incarcerated, you find out who your real friends is. You acquire a lot of jealousy for unknown reasons. You acquire a lot of hate. You have limited people you can trust, and most people friend you for what you can do for them. So you had to learn how to move around and be in that environment. So I used to read a lot. I was just, 23 hours in 1 hour recreation. And I played ball. Whenever I got to a place where I could play ball, that was my time of being free. I've been through a lot. I've seen some friends die in there. I've been abused by the guard before when I was young. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. This is Mississippi, so prison in Mississippi different from anywhere you ever wanna be. I kept a cell phone. I stayed in touch with my people. I was able to influence my little sister, pursue her dream and do what she wanted to do in life. She used to tell my grandma when she was little she was gonna be a lawyer one day so she could be a judge to get me out. But she started law school a couple weeks ago. So that made me feel proud. As I said, I had a phone, and my mom called me and said, I just seen on ABC News where they got a new law, and I believe it'll apply to you. It was cruel, unusual punishment to sentence a juvenile to life without parole on his first offense. Brian Stevenson, he was the one that did the research on it. He said, his grandma said, if you want to solve a problem, you got to get close to it. And he made a way for a lot of us to get free. Because everybody make mistakes in life, but it don't mean you're going to be bad your whole life. You just have one bad day. I thought about that day every day when my friends graduated college, when they were getting married, having kids, moving on with their life, and I was still there in that same place. I thought about it every day when my little sister grew up into a whole woman and I wasn't even around. And my best friend passed last year, my grandma, and I had to go to the wake in chains and a shackle.
If you could go back to 1998 to speak to your 17-year-old self, what would you want to say?
Walk home, man. I'm Teron Moore, and this is my brief but spectacular take on second chances.
So powerful. Tonight's episode was produced with help from Mississippi-based journalist Co Bragg. She has reported extensively on juvenile crimes. You can watch her brief but spectacular take on our website. That's pbs.org/newshour/brief.